Hey guys, so what is going on? Hope you're having a blessed and highly favored day, because if you say today's been a great day, it's going to be a great day. Now let's get into today's episode. Today we are back at Heroes of the Faith. I wasn't able to do it yesterday because I had a track meet, but I pulled out dub, got 6th place in the 800, and boy, was it rough. But as one of my videos said in the past, do not fear, for God is with us, and it wasn't as bad as I thought. I had to wait like 5 hours before my event, but it was fun. Alright, let's get started. Today we are going to be talking about Moses. This is probably going to be like a 1-part, 2-part thing, because Moses did a lot of things. I'll probably have to do like 5 parts for Jesus, because Jesus did so many things. Way too many things, but that is so good because his blessing and his favor went everywhere with him. Even on the Sabbath day, he kept on going, tried and true. Well, let's actually get started. Chick-fil-A, not sponsored. Bringing me Diet Lemonade. Alright. So let's get started with Exodus chapter 1. Before all of this happened, before Moses was born, the king of Egypt, who did not know Joseph, and he said to the people, "Look, the people of the children of Israel are more than mightier than we are, the Egyptians." So he said, for every newborn baby, get him off so that we have stronger numbers. And Moses' mom born him, and she was like, "No, I don't want to let him die." So she kept him quiet for around like 6 months. Right, 4 to 6 months, which is a while. Like keeping a baby quiet. Like babies, but they help the pastor preach. They like to dance. They like to move around. It's very hard to keep a baby just quiet for 6 months. 6 months. That is crazy. Like 6 months is just crazy. And for 3 months. 3 months is still crazy. That's like 90 days. Pretty sure it's too quick. Rough estimate. That's a lot of time of just letting a baby, just trying to keep a baby quiet, not making anybody hear him or anything. And eventually his mom's just like, we can't keep him here for much longer. Like, we can't keep him quiet for the rest of his life, because then eventually he's just going to grow up, and then it's like a 4-year-old, and it's like, what? And then he would eventually just die, and they didn't want that to happen, so they made a basket, put oil around it and all this stuff to make it waterproof. And Pharaoh's daughter was out swimming, basically. Moses' daughter, Miriam, I'm pretty sure Miriam, that is definitely like a Bible trivia. Who is Moses' sister? And that's a tough one. I'd say that's a tough one. But so she pushed him out, and Pharaoh's daughter is like, "Bro, yo, there's a basket." And one of the servants picked it up and said, "There's a baby in here." She's like, a baby? What? And she was like, quick, somebody like take a caretaker for this baby." And then Moses' sister ran up there and says, "You want me to find someone to help you?" And she's like, "Yes." So Moses' sister went over there and said, like, Mom, it worked. Go, hurry. And they nursed him until he was about 5. And then he brought him up and then went over to live at Pharaoh's castle. That's crazy how a baby made it 3 months with keeping quiet. Just moved over in a little raft, met Pharaoh's daughter, and then boom, is okay and doesn't have to be killed. That's just truly crazy. Sorry, I'm thirsty. And then later, Moses grows up, and there's this Egyptian beating up this Israelite, and he's like, "Why are you striking this guy?" And they're like, "Bro, what are you doing?" He's like, "He's not doing it." So he killed him because he was like, "Don't hurt my people," even though he's living up in the castle. and he killed the guy, and he's like, go. And then he made sure nobody saw him, but later, two Hebrew men were fighting. Here's a little just verse. This is Exodus 2:13, if y'all want to check this out. And then he went out to the second day. Behold, two Hebrew men were fighting. And he said to the one who did the wrong, why are you striking your companion? Then he said, who made you a prince and a judge over us? Did you intend to kill me as you killed the Egyptian? They saw. Somebody saw, told his friends, or they saw and told their friends. So I know, and so Moses feared and said, surely this thing is known. When Pharaoh heard this matter, he sought to kill Moses. But Moses fled. He was like, I'm out. Peace, homies. He was gone. He was just like, I'm not going to deal with this. So Moses left, and it was just rough. Like, he had to leave his home, leave the only place he known. He left, and then he left, and and he was in the wilderness, which the wilderness back then was like a desert. Which kind of crazy, because wilderness now is like forest. Wilderness is like a forest now, so it's kind of crazy. But then eventually he found a wife and found like a family, and yeah, so life was good again for Moses. And then he was tending his father-in-law's flock of sheep. And then there was, let me quote scripture. There was Exodus 3:2, and the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a flame of fire from the midst of a bush. So he looked, and behold, the bush was burning with fire, but the bush was not being consumed. Basically meaning, in a fire, the bush would like burn out and like get turned to ash or whatever. But it wasn't. The bush was staying there, but it was on fire. It's like, what? Like, that'd be crazy. Like, you see a log burn, but the log just stays there. It stays there. Like, I do get like how it burns, but it slowly does it. But it just wasn't burning at all. It was just there. So Exodus 3:3 says, and Moses said, I will now turn aside and see the great sight. Why does the bush not burn? Like, I'd be kind of curious too. And the Lord saw that he turned aside to look. God called to him and said, Moses, Moses, Moses. And he said, here I am. Then he says, do not draw near this place. Take your sandals off, for this is holy land. This actually says it a few times in the Bible. It says, stop, put your sandals off. This is holy land. Because holy land, you don't want to disrespect it. I don't know. We don't really have holy land anymore. Like, there's a lot of old stuff they did in the Bible, like animal sacrifices. Thank you, Lord Jesus, died on the cross, and we don't have to do that anymore. So that's a good thing. But 3:6, Exodus 3:6 says, moreover, he said to him, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And Moses hid his face because he was afraid to look at God. He was just afraid. And it would be kind of troubling, like, oh my gosh, you're the Lord that I've been praying to every day. And, well, you know we have faith, but when you actually see him, it's like, oh my gosh. So the Lord says, I've surely seen the oppression of my people who are in Egypt. They're being tortured, they're asking me doing all this, they're practically being slaves. And he's just like, yeah, I tried to stop it, but it didn't work for me. And he's like, now, you're going to go and ask him to free all my people, free your people. Well, then Moses said to God, indeed, when I come to the children of Israel and say to them, what is his name? What should I call you? He says, then Moses said, and it's like, in the Bible, it doesn't speak in all caps, but this is one of the only times it does this, is I am who I am. And then he said, thus you shall say to the children of Israel, I am who has sent you. And Moses is like, am I the person that you should be sending? And he's like, yep. And he's like, sure. And then he just keeps on coming up with excuses. And in his defense, I probably would too. And he's like, well, I'm not a good speaker. And he's like, well, I already knew you were going to say that. So your brother Aaron gonna roll up there, and you are, and then he's gonna speak for you. He's like, and he just kept on in denial until eventually he broke down. I was like, all right, God, let's go. And so, but then the Lord said to him, what's in your hand? He's like, a rod. He's like, throw it on the ground. And he threw it off the ground, and then it was a snake. He jumped and ran. He said, nope, come back. And then he told him, pull the tail of it. He pulled the tail of the snake and then turned back to a staff. Which is actually crazy. Like, just imagine, you throw your rod and it turns to a snake. I would be freaked out. I'd probably get my sandals back and start beating it or something. Or get a gun, but guns weren't back then. But furthermore, the Lord told him, and put your hand in your bosom. And he put his hand there. It says, and took it out. Wait, that's the laws. And then his hand was leprous like snow. Leprous was a bad disease. It was a really bad disease. Like, you could see in the Bible where, like, Jesus would heal it. And it was a bad disease. Like, really bad. Alright. So it continues on about that. And so Moses' first encounter with Pharaoh, he goes up there and he says, hey, I am sent me, and he's supposed to let our people go. My God says, let my people go. It's like, no. It's like, sure. It's like, no. So he keeps on telling him, and then eventually he throws his rod down, and there's a snake. He's like, oh yeah, our sorcerers can do that too. And they did, and you know what happened? Moses' snake, the staff, ate the other snakes that the sorcerers made. So it's like, And then the first thing he did is he got his staff and put it on the Nile River, and it turned to blood. He's like, well, our sorcerers and gods could do that too. He's like, well, do it. Turn it back. No matter what they did, they could not do it. No matter what, they could not make it turn back. And it's like, leave. I don't want to see you. But then they left, and the water was still made out of blood. And then it just wasn't a really good sight for them. So then we go back, and then more. And that was the first plague, okay? There was 10 plagues. The second one was frogs. Now, I'd say some frogs are kind of cute. One of them, just look at them, our distance. They're okay, but no, this is an abundance of frogs. Like, frogs upon frogs, like they're jumping in your house, jumping in your bed, jumping in your food, everything. All their food spoils, all this. It was horrible. Then Pharaoh called Moses and Aaron and said, entreat the Lord that he may take away the frogs from me and my people. And I will let your people go, that you may sacrifice to the Lord. And they did. And he's like, second, I'm actually not going to let your people go. I'm not going to let the people go. So it's just like, okay, well, we'll change enough to pick lice. Hate lice. Hate lice. Lice. The Lord said to Moses, say to Aaron, stretch out your rod and strike the dust of the land, and that may it become lice throughout all the land of Egypt. Ooh, and they did so, for Aaron stretched out his hand with the rod and struck the dust of the earth, and it became lice on man and beast. All the dust of the land became lice and throughout the land of Egypt. Oh, my bad, guys. It's 8:16. 8 through 16 through 19. Exodus. This is all in Exodus, so I'm just gonna say like the book, like the verse and stuff, chapter. It's all in Exodus, but Moses' story actually continues after Exodus. It's like Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. It goes on for a little bit, so like this is why it's gonna be like a 2-3 part series, because it's already 14 minutes and I'm just getting started about the plagues. So Moses had a pretty big life, even though he was old. He kept on doing God's word. He was really faithful with God. I mean, he did everything. All right, so to continue. Now the magicians so worked with their enchantments to bring forth lice, but they could not. So there was lice on man and beast. Then the magician said to Pharaoh, this is the finger of God. But Pharaoh's heart grew harder, and he did not heed them, just as the Lord had said. Then there's flies. I hate flies, because this is a very gross fact, but did you know almost every time a fly lands on you, they either throw up or do something? It's very gross, and that's why I hate flies. And they're also really annoying, but just imagine one fly on you, all thousands of flies, just ugh. And then livestock disease, basically. Oh, by the way, this is kind of cool, but only a few of the plagues affected the Israelites. The rest of them only affected the Egyptians, because the Israelites didn't do anything. They were being enslaved. So almost all of these events were just for the Israelites. No, for the Egyptians. The Israelites did nothing. The blood to water, that they did get affected, but for most of these, they didn't really get affected. Alright. So, livestock disease, all of their livestock, all of their animals, all the baby goats that they just raised up, all cute and pretty, dead. A lot of their livestock on Egypt died. Not the Israelites livestock, but the Egyptians. So the Lord did the thing on the next day, and all of the livestock of Egypt died. But of the livestock of the children of Israel, not one died. Then Pharaoh sent, and indeed not even one of his livestock of the Israelites were dead. But the heart of Pharaoh's heart grew harder, and he did not let the people go. He's like, getting a little mad now, but I'm not letting the people go. And then boils. Boils are pimples. I love popping pimples. It's weird, but I like popping pimples. I just like that sound. But popping boils are really, really, really painful pimples. They're big. I have an Action Bible, and I saw these. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's really painful, and that's why this is a plague. So the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "Take yourselves a handful of ashes from the furnace, and let Moses scatter it towards the heavens in the sight of Pharaoh." And they then find dust and did it, the ashes of the furnace, and stood before Pharaoh, and Moses scattered them toward heaven, and they caused boils that would break out in sores on man and beast. It was really painful. I know this because I have an Action Bible. I read it, and the whole part was painful. So the Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, and he did not heed them, just as the Lord spoke to Moses. He did not let God's people go. The seventh plague, hail, Hail. Really, a bunch of ice. We don't have much hail here in Texas, but this was rough. And so all their livestock just died, and they have to become eat. Don't worry, they still wheat and all that. Well, there's now hail, so it's gonna trample their crops. Hurt the servants and people, and it's just going to be really painful. But now everything's fine. They have some stuff left, and then locusts come. Now y'all know some locusts. Their leftover stuff they had. They ate them. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand over the land of Egypt for the locusts, and that may they come upon the land of Egypt and eat every herb of the land." They don't have much left. Now they're going to eat all the herbs. I read the Action Bible again, and I'm like, oh my gosh. It shows a whole fleet of them. It's crazy, but that's what happened. Thousands upon thousands came, ate all the herbs, and then, but Pharaoh, alright guys, it's a surprise, but Pharaoh didn't let the people go. What? And, hey, guess what the next plague is? Darkness is the next plague. Then Pharaoh called to Moses and said, "Go serve the Lord. Only let your flocks and herds be kept back. Let your little ones also go with you." And Moses said, I remember this. He said, "Not one hoof shall remain here." We're taking everybody. We're taking women, children, guys, animals, everything. We're taking everything with us. Everything that belongs to the Israelites is coming with us. And he's like, "No, I'm fine. No." and then death of the firstborn. This is the final plague and one of the worst ones. But your fate could have been decided. All you had to do was just do this one thing. So Moses and Aaron told everybody, if you put lamb's blood on your door, the death angel will spare you. The death angel is like, you all know the Grim Reaper? It's that, but it's actually the person for God and not like some fake made up thing. Like, if you didn't have lamb's blood on your door, your firstborn child would be dead. It was crazy, but that's what they also called it, Passover. Because they don't call it, death of the firstborn. They call it Passover. Because that is the day that the Lord spared them. And how they got out of Egypt. Like, Pharaoh was angry. Like, after this happened, he was so sad, he's like, go take it. Take everything. Because he had a son, and then it died, and then he died. He's like, go. Take everything. Animals, women, children, gods. All of the Israelites, go. And that's what they did. And you know why it's called Exodus? Because Exodus means exit. Exit. Egypt. Kind of cool. Genesis means beginning, and Exodus means exit. It's kind of funny. That's what it's called, the exit. The Exodus. The exit. That's when they left. And then after it, they left, and they were going on their way home, and then Pharaoh's like, wait, what did I do? I'm going to make them pay. So he's going to get chase them down, kill them. Take their valuables, go back up, make a few people prisoner, put them back as slaves. And then and it's kind of like a chase. Like, they're chasing them, and then now there's like this river. There's the Red Sea, and people are like, great, we've gone to this, we've gone through all this stuff, and now we're going to die or be put back into slavery. How'd you do this, Moses? Everybody was like arguing with Moses, and he was like, I will not be afraid. And then he got his staff, did this, and the Red Sea split. Like a sea. Like bodies of water full of animals split. And that's crazy. And he's like, everybody run. So they run through the Red Sea, and then the Pharaoh's people, including Pharaoh himself, they ran and they continued through the Red Sea. But when everybody got through, God closed the Red Sea on Pharaoh and his warriors, and they all got engulfed in the sea, and no one survived. God beat Pharaoh, all of them, and all of the Israelites, all of his people were free. And that is how Moses trusted God. Like, through all of this, all of the plagues, all of this, Pharaoh still trusted God. No, not bad. No, Pharaoh did not trust God. Moses still trusted God through all of this. At first he was like, I don't know. But Pharaoh didn't. His heart hardened each time. He didn't, and if he just listened at the beginning, none of this would have happened, and he would have still been alive. Well, guys, thank you for watching. This is around 10 minutes longer than what my normal video is, but it is what it is. This will be the first out of 2 or 3 Moses's, because Moses did a lot of great things, and he is a powerful man of God. And I can tell he's in the streets of gold, and he is preaching. If they do preach in there, which they probably do. Well, guys, I'll see y'all. Have a blessed and highly favored day, and I'll see y'all in the next one.